What Daemon is attempting with the bronze dragon Vermithor is something we've never seen before in any of the series' mediums. While already bonded to his red dragon Caraxes, he's trying to form some kind of secondary bond with Vermithor. What's reiterated in the books over and over is that climbing on the back of a second dragon that isn't yours is instant death for a Targaryen. A dragon is a magical creature in this world, and can sense if you're already a rider. When a bond is made, they're linked for life. With the old King Jaehaerys dead, Vermithor has been unoccupied on Dragonstone for close to 30 years. Vermithor hatched in Jaehaerys' cradle and has been his one and only rider. Out of the 5 riderless dragons belonging to the Blacks faction of the Civil War, Daemon chooses Vermithor to be acquainted with. Why? Because it's the largest one they got, being 100 years old at this point. Still significantly smaller and half the age of the Green's massive Vhagar. But Vhagar's age is showing in a big way in House of the Dragon. Daemon's not looking to replace Caraxes with a slightly bigger mount. I think he's just trying to form a friendship of sorts. When Daenerys flew into battle with her bonded beast Drogon, the other two, Rhaegal and Viserion, followed suit, just cause they're homies. Caraxes follows Daemon's commands. Vermithor never will. While new revelations in House of the Dragon also show us, bonded dragons aren't unquestionably obedient. King Viserys hinted at this with his lecture to Rhaenyra about the illusion of controlling them. And then we see it play out during the final moments of the first season, in the first dragon fight of the show between Aemon and Vhagar versus Lucerys and Little Caraxes. But dragons are fairly obedient, and with them being mentally and emotionally tethered to a maester of Targaryen ancestry, they know just when to swoop in and help out. Daemon would never abandon this advantage. He's been with Caraxes since the prince was in his late teens, maybe even sooner. It's not directly stated. But Daemon's not Caraxes' first master. That goes to his uncle, Aemon, who happens to be Rhaenys' father. Aemon was the old king's heir until his early death, so he never actually made it to the Iron Throne. In 72 AC, when he was 17, he distinguished himself in a tourney, so earned his knighthood. Aemon thought this to be the perfect time to walk into the dragon pit and pick one out for himself. His mount was blood-red Caraxes, fiercest of all the young dragons in the dragon pit. The dragon keepers who knew the denizens of the pit better than anyone called him the bloodwyrm. Caraxes' nickname came early into his life, and his wild nature wasn't a result of hanging around Daemon for too long. This was just the bloodwyrm's nature. Maybe this is what gravitated Daemon to him. This gives us a rough range of Caraxes' age, being 75 years old by the time the Civil War kicks off, but again, just my estimate. The books also tell us he's half the size of Vhagar. Aemon and 2 of his siblings used to like flying around together, so Caraxes was deeply familiar with Vhagar and melees. Caraxes got to fly around with Vhagar once again when Daemon married Laena Velaryon. Got a little glimpse of that in the show. It'll be interesting if the prequels writers delve deeper into the topic of old dragon friends becoming enemies in the war. I mean, who wouldn't hesitate spitting fire on your former pals? Dragons can develop relationships since they're highly intelligent. Caraxes' first taste of a battlefield came under Aemon's saddle, 11 years into their bond. In 83 AC, Dorne's prince at the time poorly executed an attack on the Seven Kingdoms. The old king was running a well-oiled machine, so saw the attack coming a mile away. Vermithor, Vhagar, and Caraxes destroyed the Dornish' entire fleet before they even made it to land. The first mention of Caraxes and Vermithor spending some time together. Dragons do seem pretty isolated in their lairs within the dragon pit. In 92 AC, it was pirates from Essos attacking the old king's realm, so the elderly ruler sent his heir to handle things. Soon after Aemon got off Caraxes, he was shot with a crossbow in the throat. All the while, his dragon was busy chomping on some goats nearby. There was no way the bloodwyrm could have saved his master. Daemon was alive at this point, so the dragon wouldn't be alone for long. And Daemon being all restless really put the dragon to work. Conquering the Stepstones was their training arc to prepare for the Dance of the Dragon Civil War. For a few years, they tirelessly fought on those small islands, so that Daemon could carve out his own kingdom since his brother didn't want to name him heir to the Iron Throne. In the books, it was close to 10 years of fighting. Vermithor is larger and lived through a lot, but Caraxes is the more battle-experienced. Daemon and Caraxes' lives slowed down a little after the marriage to Laena Velaryon. They became world travelers, giving everyone a chance to see them in flight. House the Dragon showed us these years of leisure only brought out more of Daemon's restlessness. The prospect of killing the other half of his family only excites him, now that he's remarried to Rhaenyra and would carry the title of King of the Seven Kingdoms, though it would be Rhaenyra wearing the crown. Before he flies off to the Riverlands to make House Tully and their bannermen allies for the Blacks, Daemon risks his life to sing a song to Vermithor. There was zero chance anyone was going to decipher this made-up language because it's supposed to be High Valyrian, Targaryen's former native tongue before they migrated to Westeros. But soon after the season finale aired, the author George R. R. Martin's assistant, who helps out with some consulting on the prequel, gave the internet a translation, since he worked on the song with the man who made the language in Game of Thrones. The song is titled Haros Bartozi, meaning with 3 heads. That's a heavy callback to the Targaryens' 3-headed dragon sigil, and the prophecy of the promised prince that will save the world. Targaryens sometimes refer to themselves as dragons, or the dragon, and it's also said that they have the blood of the dragon. When a prophetic moment happens in the books, Targaryen characters like Rhaegar or Maester Aemon just say in a cryptic manner, the dragon has to have 3 heads. When Aegon the Conqueror united the 7 kingdoms, he did it with his 2 sister wives atop their 3 dragons. In the current book story, Dany has 3 dragons awaiting true riders. But Daemon isn't aware of the promised prince prophecy. Viserys didn't deem him worthy of this passed down information. He just coincidentally sang Vermithor a song related to it, singing, Fire breather, winged leader, but 2 heads to a 3rd sing. From my voice the fires have spoken, and the price has been paid. With blood magic, with words of flame, with clear eyes, to bind the 3. To you I sing, as one we gather, and with 3 heads we shall fly as we were destined, beautifully, freely. Something I'm sure he picked up in one of the rare Valyrian books he's been digging up. Could also be rearranged lyrics he edited to fit a situation to make the spell accurate. The song states, with the price has been paid with blood magic to bind 3. He probably interpreted this as a way to have ownership of 3 dragons. If this method is successful with Vermithor, which it kind of looks like it is since he didn't become dragon food, Daemon will need one more dragon to sing this to. It's obvious which one he'll pick. Silverwing is Vermithor's partner. It's hinted that they're in love. Dragons are capable of this level of emotional depth. Silverwing is only a couple years younger than Vermithor, so very large, but with no battle experience. Both these dragons are more easily susceptible to being tamed, since they've had Targaryen riders in the past. The other 3 on Dragonstone are completely wild. The Dragon Keepers don't care for them, and their origins on this island are up to fan interpretation. Teaming up with Vermithor and Silverwing will deviate from the books in a drastic way, changing how the war will play out, just like with Laenor not actually dying. Writers are going to have to carefully navigate the ripple effects of major changes, but this obsession with being perfectly faithful to source material that you see in a lot of fandoms is whack. If the show is quality, then we have 2 different stories to enjoy, and you feel like the book's version more because it came directly from the author. That's cool. The books will still be on your shelf to read and caress at night. The issue with the Rings of Power was the changes that the show's writers made were ass, and made for an overall worse story. I never read The Lord of the Rings, but from some videos I watched on YouTube, the lore was so grand. The writers went for a simple, generic retelling. The show wasn't all bad, but as a casual viewer, the low points dragged so hard. By the end of it, I can't say I care for any of the storylines. Couldn't care less if they made a 2nd season. Daemon forming a new type of blood magic bond, and Laenor's escape are fun, interesting changes that improve upon the lore. This makes me even more excited for Season 2, and a main part for my excitement is to see how these changes will play out. Thanks for watching this one, guys.